for tuning back in. In today's episode, we're talking about the LGBT community, and today we have, starting off from over there,
Daniel.
Marissa.
Morgan.
and you guys identify yourselves as.
Gay.
Bisexual.
Gay.
So one of the first questions that I wanted to ask is, how do you know, or how did you find out you were gay? And what does that word mean to you?
It's not a find out type of thing. It's like, how do you know you're straight? You just know your entire life. It's the same for me. I'm not gonna say for them, but I was like, yeah, I don't really like boys from like kindergarten. I knew. I was like, nah, not for me.
Not for you.
Nah.
Doesn't tickle your pickle.
I don't have one of those, so no, it doesn't.
I guess sort of similar, but with a little more constraints because like we do things like we play around, we have games like they'd want to play princess and I'd want to be the prince and I'd want to like kiss the girl and like bring her back from her sleep, whatever, right? So I always kind of knew that I was interested in girls that way, but it was harder for me to admit that to myself because I was brought up Christian and I was brought up like, oh no, girls don't feel that way about each other. That's just not how things work.
And I can relate to like what Morgan said, that you don't, it's not something you find out, it's like something you already know. So growing up, I already knew that I wasn't like the other boys. I would see them like, you know, have girlfriends and stuff. And I'll be checking the guy out instead of the girl. So I was like, there's something not right with me, but I just didn't know how to identify myself as that because I was small and I have never been taught like, oh, like being gay is this, being this is that.
So how did your parents find out, or do they know? How did they find out, or you just came out of your mom's and you were just like sorpresa?
So
Sorpresa, mom.
Glitter everywhere. Great.
Rainbow. I'm just kidding. Well, growing up, I was always hanging around with girls and stuff, so I was always bullied.
What
I
would
was
people
like,
say to you when you were bullied?
Really hurtful terms, and like I was being suicidal because of the bullying. So that's when I was like, do I really want to end my life just because other people like?
What do you want to say now that you're like over
Yeah,
that?
like, yeah, like it's not okay to bully people, so don't do it because it could lead to suicide, and that's not okay.
Were you guys ever bullied or treated differently?
Not bullied so much as like oppressed. It was because it's really hard to like admit that part of yourself, not just to yourself but to other people. I struggled with a lot of like internalized homophobia. I struggled with depression and like really severe anxiety just because I was like, oh my god, somebody's gonna find out. It wasn't bullying so much as it was like me just keeping myself down, me like being afraid of being bullied or worse, just being harassed that way.
Most of my friends already knew because like I act the same way I act now when I was like 5. So it's like there wasn't really ever a difference. It was like I came out, I want to say, beginning of high school, like 9th grade, and my mom was like, I knew that, and I was like, cool. My friends were like, saw it coming. I was like, fantastic, and then that was like it.
For you?
It was the same way. I came out my junior year in high school. Since like everybody already knew, I just wanted to like clarify to them because I still kept getting asked like, "Why are you gay? Like, do I need to like tattoo it on my forehead?" But yeah, I came out. The only one that kind of, she wasn't against it or anything was my mom. For like a while, she kept talking about like, let's go to church, like thinking it's something like religiously, like and I told her like, Mom, it's not something.
Do you believe in God?
I believe in God. Like I just don't think that it's right for people to say like being gay is wrong, because it says that in the Bible. It doesn't say that, but yeah.
One of another things is that I don't believe in bisexuality, and that's one of the reasons why I have you here, because I think, I don't know if other people might agree with me, but as far as, to me, bisexuality is or was, changing my perspective, just wanting more, just being a little kinky ass or something. So, please, explain to me.
Got that tea, girl, sip it.
Wow.
Just kidding.
I asked you this like 10 minutes ago. I'm gonna ask you again. Is it that you don't believe in bisexuality or you don't understand bisexuality? Because it's completely different.
Understand.
Okay, see, that's one thing. It's one thing to not understand how bisexual people work, like what it's like to be bisexual, and it's another thing to be like, yeah, that experience isn't real and those people aren't real. So there's that. Bisexuality for me has nothing to do with sex. It has nothing to do with like, oh, that chick's hot, let me go like get it at me, let me go like fuck around. Like, it's like when I found out that I was gay, it had nothing to do with me being attracted to a girl sexually or physically, but everything to do with me thinking like, oh shit, like I want to spend more time with her, like why do I want to tell her all these deep personal things about me, like why do I want to learn all about her, and like all these things that like I know she doesn't tell anybody else, like why do I have this desire to be like the closest person to her in her life and to have her like be my closest confidant. And things like I see her like expressing interest in a boy and like telling boys secrets, and that would make me jealous. Isn't really any difference for me, like, you know, bonding with people and falling for people, like
For
it's
a
just
lot of
as
people,
easy.
they think that that's kind of like hippie beliefs. You know what I mean? Like love and peace to everyone.
Oh, okay.
So, like,
it's
Explain that.
Really was
well,
like,
it's,
what?
I was
yeah,
about to-
I was so confused. Well, because it wasn't platonic, right? Like, it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, like that's my homie, or like, okay, I can trust you, I can call on you when I need you. It's another thing to be like, I don't want you to ever be like out of my life. I don't really ever want to spend a day not thinking about you, like not talking to you, like not knowing that we have a future together, or like you're gonna be there in my future, you know? Like it's really easy, like the same that it is for heterosexual people to understand, like, okay, this is my friend and this is something more. It's the same for me. It's just, I don't
Both
see,
ways.
yeah, it's just the gender aspect doesn't really hit me the way that it hits other people. And I know a lot of people aren't monogamous, but like, just from my perspective, knowing the difference between like what's platonic and what's romantic is just as clear, like night and day, as it would be for anybody else.
Okay.
So it's like
Why don't you like vagina?
Doesn't
Exactly.
Yeah. Remember when I told you earlier that like being gay doesn't really have a whole lot to do with sex?
I know. Don't attack me.
No,
I'm
no,
just
I'm
asking.
He said we could attack.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's hard to be like, okay, like, why doesn't the sexual component appeal to you? Well, I mean, like, it's not really the basis of my sexuality to begin with. You know, so it's hard to, like, let me break it down for you from, like, first of all, I don't like dick, I don't like vagina, because, you know, that's not really what it's about. That's not really, like,
It's more about the connection.
it's a lot about the connection. I mean, I'm not going to say that the sexual component isn't a part of it, but I don't think that it's, like, the basis.
It's not just that. Like, we love people too.
You guys, you too. You guys were never curious to like.
No.
No.
To do
To
anything?
try it out
No.
with.
The only thing I did was kiss, but that's about it.
Dang. Why do you guys think that people make a big deal out of being gay?
That's a good question.
It's really hard to say, because some people make a big deal out of it because they don't understand that whole aspect from when you're a kid. Being different makes you an outcast. So that in itself means they won't try to understand, or they won't try to educate themselves because they view you as different, so they don't want to associate. Another thing would be sort of on the religious aspect. You grow up learning that God wants you to behave this way, you know, you follow the rules of the Bible, and in the Bible it says, you know, man shall not lay with man, but it doesn't say anything further than that. It doesn't give you, you know, reason to say, you know what, you're going to hell just because you do this. There are a lot of other rules in the Bible that people don't follow that
And
sort
we're
of
all
push
going
to
to
the
hell. Anyway,
you sort of
so-
push to the wayside, to the fact that like you're judging based on book, spiritual book, religious book, but you're not following all the rules. You're picking and choosing which ones you choose to act on.
Like my teacher once said, God doesn't like the sin, but he likes the sinner. It's just like, what if it were to be written the other way around? Like, oh, being gay is okay and being straight is not. It's like saying, how would you guys feel? You get me?
Yeah.
The same.
It's like, I just had to put that out there.
I mean, think about it. If he didn't
Yeah.
want gay people, why
What would they
do we
yeah.
exist?
Do you think that straight people might eventually become gay at some point of their life? Or it just will happen? No, like, I'm being for real. It's like, or is it something that just, sometimes it just happens when, as you get older, but I feel like that's going back to the hippie shit of like love and, you know, like, I don't know. Am I wrong? I'm just asking.
I mean, you know, you're in college right now, right? Would you ever experiment with?
That's what I
polygamy?
was telling her. physically experiment, yes.
Okay.
Emotionally experiment, I just don't see it.
Okay. That's as far as it goes for straight people. Some straight people.
See, you said some.
Some.
So,
Oh, I'm gay.
It's not a
No.
turning type thing. It's something you know, but you sort of push down just to fit in.
Yes.
Or not like
Some
disappointing
people-
parents.
Some people don't know, genuinely. I feel like a lot of people will go their whole lives thinking that they are one way and then come to discover later on in life that they're not. I think that
they're like,
sexuality...
sorpresa to myself. Like,
Yeah, no, essentially. I feel like sexuality is a very fluid thing. I feel like it's never something that's like set in stone. I think people can grow and discover at any point in their life all the time. And I don't know if it's a matter of even like turning or just like growing as a person, you know, because I know everybody goes through that. Everybody becomes a new person by the end of their road. So if it's just something along in your journey, then that's what it is.
Yeah, okay. One thing that as society we could do, and you guys would like to send a message out there so LGBT community could be normalized and not be so treated as the other, what would it be? Like, what would you guys take in action or say to those who still believe that that's a sin and that you guys are going to hell?
Don't judge, because judging is a sin. If you're homophobic, what does our lifestyle have to do with you? Like, we don't worry about you, so don't worry about us. Like, I was in a sperm cell and I asked God, oh, make me gay because I want to be discriminated growing up and stuff. It's like I was just made this way. I don't know how or why, but I am. So just support us because we're cool.
And also,
Yeah, we don't.
I'd also like encourage people to like question what do they really know about like the gay community and about who gay people are and how gay people work, because earlier you were talking about like, oh, I don't believe in bisexuality because you just kind of want to fuck around with everybody, and like I just explained that's not how it works. That's not who we are or how things go for us. What's the real divide here other than the gender stigmas?
Educate yourself, go to an LGBT center, just talk to people. You'll find out that we're not that different from you.
One thing that I think it will help the LGBT community, it will be just normalizing characters in movies, and as far as like, for example, the song Strangers, how she wasn't trying to get a message across, you know what I mean? It was just super normalized on the song, and I was like, bro, like if this was like that all the time,
So
then it wouldn't be so,
representation.
yeah, it wouldn't be so different. Okay, well, that concludes the video for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any comments, ideas, if you guys disagree or agree with this comments, please comment down below. And what else? Yeah, I think that's it. And
Don't subscribe. Whoa.
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 Go
Subscribe.
like and subscribe to Andrea's channel.
Subscribe, like this video, share it if you guys want, and thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time.